Hi, welcome. In this video, I'm going to discuss about Java Server Pages. Java Server Pages is a technology of Java for creating web applications. So here is the agenda for today's video. We'll talk about what is JSP, how to create first JSP page, and how to run it on server. We'll talk about JSP lifecycle, and we'll discuss 5 scripting elements available in JSP. What is JSP? JSP is a collection of technologies that helps to create dynamically generated web pages. It was first released in year 1999 by Sun Microsystems. JSP is similar to PHP and ASP, but JSP uses the Java programming language at its core. JSP and Servlet are the two web application development technologies of Java, but there is a difference between these two. Inside JSP, there is more of the HTML code, and we can embed a little bit of Java code inside HTML, while in Servlet there is more of Java code and we can embed a little bit of HTML code inside Java code. So now let's talk about how to create our first JSP page. So for creating the first JSP page, you need to have Eclipse or any other IDE for Java web application development, and you should have some web server like Apache Tomcat running and just configured on your machine. So this thing I have already done, and this is my Eclipse. What I'm doing, I'm just creating my first web application. So for that I'll choose dynamic web project, and I'll give a name to my project, new web project, and we'll just finish it. So these are some of the directories which are available in my this project. I'll just create a new JSP file. Let me give it a name. Let's keep it index.jsp, and let's just finish it. So this is the default content in my JSP page, which is having name index.jsp. So first one is just telling me that what type of page is this. Here the language of this page is Java, and it will have content type as text and HTML. The character set it will use will be UTF-8, and page encoding will be UTF-8. So here you can see that whatever code is there on this page is primarily HTML, and you can run it on server. So if I just write here hello world, then I can directly run this on server. Now how can I run this on server? For that I just need to right click on this and then just go to run as and run on server. So it needs to be saved, and this instance of server is already there. Let me check it, and let me restart the server for my new project. It is restarting the server, and hello world has been printed here. Now how can I embed Java code inside this? So for that, let me print the current date with the help of Java date class. So for that I need to write an scriptlet. So I can write my Java code within these two brackets, which is called the way to create a scriptlet, a small Java code, out dot println, and I want to create the current date. So for that I need to instantiate my date class, which is available in java.util. So I just need to write here new java.util dot date. So it will just create an instance of java.util.date and will print the current date. So let's go to this built-in browser and let's just refresh our page. There seems to be some problem. Out.println new java.util. Let me save this page and then go to this place. So here you can see that the date is being displayed along with day and all the information, and I am using here a small Java code to do this stuff. Now what else you can do here? So we'll talk about the 5 types of scripting elements which are available in JSP. So we have finished with our first page. Now let's move to understand that what is happening behind the code that we just wrote. So JSP is just a collection of HTML and Java. So whatever Java code we are writing at the time of translation, that code has to be converted into a full-fledged Java class. So that is called a servlet file. So corresponding to JSP, which is having dot extension JSP, a .java file is created, and then .java file gets compiled to .class file. So we convert this JSP file, which this conversion is automatically done by the web server that we are using, and this class file will have various components. So there is jspInit method, there is jspService method, and there is jspDestroy method. So at the time of class loading, during the execution, the jspInit method is called, and whenever we have to provide services to various requests coming to the server, then jspService method is called, and whenever the JSP page stops its execution, then jspDestroy method is called. So these are the 3 lifecycle methods of JSP. And now let's talk about how we can do programming inside JSP. So these 5 scripting elements help us write scripts or small programs in JSP. So if we want to define a comment, so we need to use this syntax. So whatever is placed here, that will just ignored by the execution engine. And we can have different types of directives. So in the page that we just created, there was a page directive. So directives are just the guidelines or kind of instructions provided at different levels. So they may be at page level or other levels. So we can define directives like this, and then we'll talk about that how we can declare. So we can have the declaration of variables, we can have the declaration of methods, and whatever we declare inside this declaration tag, and you can see that there is distinctive mark of exclamation sign here, and whatever variables we write here, at the time of compilation during the conversion of JSP into Servlet, whatever we write here, those variables and methods will become the members of the class. And we can write some code inside this scriptlet. So whatever is there inside this scriptlet, that becomes the part of JSP service method. And we can uh, display some values with the help of expression tags. So how to use declaration, how to create methods inside, and how to uh, define variables with the help of these declaration and scriptlet and expressions. Let's talk about with the help of simple code. So here we go. So what I'm doing, I'm just declaring a variable. So how the variable declaration can be done? So it has to be done inside declaration scripting element, and declaration is done by this syntax, and int x equals to 0. So this is the value of a variable that I'm using here, and now this value can be accessed anywhere. If I just want to display the value of this variable at a given location, then I can combine it with some HTML code. I'm using here bold tag, and I can use the expression tag here. So for expression tag, I just need to write here equals and then the value of x. Remember that you should not place here any semicolon, because semicolon is not the part of expression tag. Let's run it. Let me refresh this page. The value of x is 0 in this case, and I can just print it. So it is just acting as a counter. So every time you are refreshing the page, this value of x will get incremented. So what is happening behind the scene? Whatever you are keeping inside declaration tag, so this particular variable will just become the data member of the class, which will be a servlet class, and every time you are calling this, so the same value will be used by all the objects, and this can act as a loop counter. So let us define a function which will just count the number of hits to a given page. So the functions can be defined inside this declaration tag, and you can keep it in multiple lines. How to define a function? Suppose there is a function which is returning value int show count, and it is returning value of plus x. So here, instead of printing with this, what I'm doing, I'll be calling this function. So how this function can be called for that? So for writing any Java code, you need to define a scriptlet. So this is scriptlet. The syntax of scriptlet is just use these brackets with this percentage sign, and if you use this exclamation sign, then it becomes declaration, and if it is preceded with 2 dashes, then it becomes comment. So how do we create comment? So for creating comment, we write this syntax. This is a comment, and whatever you are writing here, it is an scriptlet, and this is declaration, and here it is the directive that we just talked about. So here it is at the page level, which is telling about that language is Java, content type is text HTML, and character set is UTF-8, and page encoding is 8. So these are the 5 scripting elements. Let's see that how to call this function here. So for that I am creating here scriptlet, and it will call the function show count, and whenever you are placing something inside scriptlet, show every statement here needs to be preceded with semicolon, and whenever you are printing it with the help of the expression, then this semicolon is not required. So just see these two things here. Show count, so here it is an expression and it is an scriptlet, but both are doing the same stuff. They are just printing the values. So let's refresh this page again. Let us save, Control S. So this 2 is coming from somewhere, and since we cannot just display it. So if you want to display it, it needs to be placed inside out dot println, and then only it can be displayed. But if you want to display anything with the help of expressions, then that can be displayed without out. And what is this out? There are 9 built-in objects which are the part of init service, so they can be just accessed from scriptlet or outside the declaration. But if you just use some built-in object like out inside the declaration, then you will get an error. So if you call it from here, then you will get an error, and it will say that it is not in the scope of this method, because this is just a local variable and it can be just accessed from outside this declaration, and it is just the part of init service. So hope that you have an understanding of how to comment something in JSP, how you can write some Java code inside these scriptlets, and how you can have declarations, and how you can have these headers where you can have directives. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.